Welcome to Pro Athletes Unfiltered. In this series, we're going to be comparing and contrasting what it takes to be a professional athlete in each sport. Every episode, we will be following a top pro, spending a true day in the life, from their home to their training to challenges that they face to become one of the greats. They will put me through intense training regimens, and in the end, will challenge me to see if I have what it takes to make it in their sport. Get an insider's look into the vast differences in every sport, from fitness to financials to sacrifices and mental fortitude. My name is Kinsey, a professional stunt woman and extreme sports athlete, and I'll be your host. In this episode, we have Cody Garbrandt. He's one of the most well-known MMA fighters of the UFC, with an Instagram following of 3 million. At just 25 years old, Cody earned the UFC belt and title for Bantamweight Champion. Cody shocked the world in this fight against well-known Dominic Cruz, entering as an underdog and leaving making a massive name for himself. Today we are in Vegas, Nevada, and so I'm excited to dive in. We're gonna get a tour of the facility. It's gonna be an awesome day, so let's get to it. I have so many good questions for you, but my first one would be kind of like how you got started. I know you used to be a boxer. You're 32-0, right, as an amateur boxer?
Yes.
So what made you switch to UFC?
So actually, I first started wrestling. My mother put me and my brother in wrestling. We were rambunctious kids, so I think that she wanted to put us in there to get some energy out. And we both excelled at it. We both loved wrestling. It was just, competitive nature was, amazing. It was just you out there wrestling your adversary at a young age. I just truly loved it. My uncle was a boxer before he got incarcerated, but then he got acquitted 23 months later, gave himself to the Lord, devoted himself to boxing, was able to have a good amateur career that led into him boxing training other fighters locally. Growing up, I would always go to watch him train some of his fights, and I just always looked up to him as a father figure. And I just was like, it was so cool to see him train, and he would take us to the gym and really planted that seed early to be a combat athlete. And then obviously when I was growing up, MMA became very prevalent. It started getting very popular. And I was like, wow, I'm wrestling and I box, so like, why don't I put the two together and go for this MMA?
Wow, that's so amazing. And so there a lot we talk about in this series is kind of like the financial side that differs in every single sport. And so I would love to know kind of the financial side of the UFC, especially when you're getting started versus now.
Yeah, it's tough because MMA is really now one of the fastest growing sports globally. In the early 2000s, it was still almost banned. So it's came a long way. Obviously that rises with money and fights and things like that. So yeah, MMA was not what you're gonna like grow up and want to be. A lot of my teachers were like, can you make money doing this? Can you provide? Can you make a good living off of it? And it was like, for me, the motivation was never money.
Yeah.
I fought for free for so long, so long. I mean, I'd have to pay for medicals and,
And how did you pay your trainers?
I would work, part-time jobs. My uncle had a construction company, so a lot of time I'd wake up and go to the gym about 4:45 to about 6:30, shower, get some breakfast, and be on the job site about 7:30, 8. Work till about 5, 6 p.m. and I would drive about an hour and a half to Pittsburgh, and I would train. Our pro practice started at 8 p.m. and then would train till about 10, get on the road, shower, eat, get home about midnight, 12:30, get some sleep, wake up, and just do it all again until I was like, that was as towards the end of my amateur career, I was doing that just to provide. I truly knew that I could make this happen, so I put all my eggs in one basket. But for me, I knew it was the right thing to do. I was listening to everybody else. I felt like it was the right thing to do at the time. You're 18, you need to be a man, go get a job, and get a career. And coal mining was, it ran in my family. My uncle was my brother, was a coal miner at the time in West Virginia. So it's like, all right, we're going to the coal mine. But I had bigger dreams. Nothing wrong with that. I think those are the hardest working, people in the world. Like they're some of the most humblest as well. But it just wasn't for me. I feel like I was set on this earth to have purpose. My purpose was to fight. Yeah. I remember sitting down with my mom and telling her like, hey, I'll make it happen. Give me till I'm 25, I'll make that happen in this sport. And she was like, I believe in you. Anything you set your mind to, you do, you achieve.
That's great.
Just enjoy it. Yeah. So, sometimes you just need someone to believe in you and truly believe in you and love you and support you through the ups and downs. Because this career it's the highest of high and the lowest of lows.
Yeah.
You saw on Saturday,
the winner by knockout.
an amazing accomplishment and feat to go out there and have a first round knockout and be pretty healthy leaving the octagon.
And leaving, you're in this octagon, you have the world looking at you, that feeling I can't imagine.
All eyes pressure, hey, you lose, it's like, all right, it's where do you go from here? Like we spoke earlier before, it's about having a balanced life.
Yeah, and I see a lot of common themes with everything you're saying with a lot of athletes we spoke with. It's like this unbelievable belief in yourself is what you have to have, like it's like you knew this was your calling. It's the same when I would change my career and was like, I'm not gonna be a nurse. It was like I felt this need and everybody didn't believe in me, but you go and do it. All the athletes are similar. It's like these Olympic athletes that are making no money and they're like, they just know this is their path and what they're supposed to do. And so it's so cool to see like your passion and you're doing what you're supposed to. Cody is not only an incredible athlete, but a man with a big heart. Cody was just an amateur MMA fighter when he met 5-year-old Maddox, who at the time was recently diagnosed with leukemia. After meeting Maddox, Garbrant offered to donate proceeds from his next fight to Maddox Medical Fund. And ever since, the two have shared an unbreakable bond. They made a promise to each other that Maddox would beat cancer and Cody would become a UFC champion. The same year Maddox entered remission for leukemia, Cody actually took title for Bantamweight champion. He then placed the new belt around the waist of Maddox, who he credits with transforming his life.
I wouldn't be here without him. He gave my life redirection and purpose, and in return I fought with purpose and lived every day with more purpose. And this kid, was going through the fight of his life and had a smile on his face and never give up. He didn't have a choice to give up. And the things that I was doing in my life, I was really my life away. I could have gone down the wrong path, kept going down the wrong path, but I believe everything happens for a reason. And, as crazy as it might sound, but he was really a turning point in my life.
All 578 UFC athletes have access to the UFC Performance Institute, which is a state-of-the-art facility located in Las Vegas, Nevada, dedicated to supporting the physical, mental, and emotional well-being of the UFC athletes. It also provides access to sports psychologists who specialize in working with athletes to optimize their mental performance. So now we're at the UFC Institute here and we're gonna get a full tour, which I'm very, very excited about. There's a lot goes into this sport and they get a lot of injuries. We're getting the inside scoop, let's do it.
Let's do it. So this is actually the best place to start. And James Kimball, Dr. Duncan French, Forrest Griffin were the three to kind of spearheaded the initiative of what the Performance Institute is. This is our mission statement, and the most important thing to think about here is we really wanted to drive our practice on making sure that we had an interdisciplinary approach. What do you know about what we do here?
Recovery.
Okay.
That's gonna be a pillar, right?
It. Yep.
It's gotta be. I would say training, recovery, mental health.
Yeah.
We talked on that. Well, that's 3. What are the other 2?
You're on it. You're on a roll. I love it. 5 pillars of our business.
Okay.
Sports medicine, strength conditioning, nutrition.
Okay. Oh, nutrition.
Sports science, and mental health services.
Amazing.
So those 5 areas comprise what this Performance Institute is and what we do.
Okay.
And let's go take a look at it.
Let's take a look.
All right. Let's do it. This is kind of a really critical part of our business and kind of what we do in terms of serving our clients. This is an intake room, and so the intake room is probably the first one off. Really want to get every single athlete that comes through here to have this touch point.
Okay.
And the reason why it's really critical is it gives us an understanding from a nutrition standpoint of really where to guide them in terms of weight class, what their career objectives are, kind of where they're at. And Seriel, one of our interns, is actually going to tell you a little bit more about kind of what they do in here.
All right, so this right here is our DEXA bed. This is where we test body composition. So we'll have the athlete lay down, but it scans from head to toe, measures their muscle mass, their fat mass, their bones. It can literally tell us what they weigh in each of those areas. And then this way it helps us when it comes to a weight descent, because then we know where we can pull weight from without hindering their performance.
Oh, wow.
This machine right here is our metabolizer. This tests what we call RMR, which is your resting metabolic rate. That is a 30-minute test. They put a mask on. It measures the concentration of the oxygen and the carbon dioxide that gets put out. It's essentially just measuring the metabolism. It's giving an accurate representation of how many calories are burned at rest, meaning laying on the couch, not doing anything. And then we take into consideration their training schedule. We factor how many calories they're burning doing that.
Yeah.
Add the two together. Then we can give them a reasonable calorie descent to achieve their weight.
Wow.
Without starving them.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Some fighters engage in extreme weight cutting practices, such as severe calorie restriction, dehydration, and excessive exercise, in an attempt to meet weight requirements for their weight class. These practices can significantly impact an athlete's physical health, including their nutritional status, hormone levels, energy levels, and overall performance, as well as contributing to developing tons of eating disorders.
So going back to kind of what we talked about with one of the pillars being nutrition, the nutrition team does an incredible job of zoning in with each athlete on what they need, keeping them healthy, but keeping them active and keeping them well fed, right?
Yeah.
Our partners do a great job of providing icon meals or just different, other areas of support where we can send stuff to them to make sure they have an incredible fight camp. Obviously from, a testing standpoint, we want to make sure that the supplements are as pure as possible. We want to give them every chance that they can to get the right supplementation. We don't want to have any tainted stuff. We want to keep everybody, being Dr. Banner and trying to keep them turning into the Hulk, right?
Yeah, okay.
And doing it the right way. So the supplement side of things are really, really critical. They send that stuff out to them anywhere in the world, wherever they are.
Wow.
And then, they can come here and get post-workout, different compounds that they may need to kind of get them going. So, a couple things in this area. Obviously, recovery is huge, and the hardest thing to teach them at this level is really understanding that recovery is a training modality, right? To them, they're the 99th percentile of their profession, right? And they get here and they're like, okay, what are you gonna show us? It's teaching them how important recovery really is, and it's a huge modality. It's a huge tool for it, right?
Yeah.
So, wants to get in? Yeah, come on in.
Okay. Oh, this is unfiltered right here.
The infrared is probably one of the most utilized services, I think. And again, it's really something that I think most professional athletes probably should and could spend a lot more time on. I think depending on who my audience is, who I'm talking to, whether it is the ladies with the collagen reproduction, anti-aging, all those types of things, the red blood cells are really going to be enhanced in terms of speeding up a recovery. Anything that's damaged, whether it's internal, external, it's going to really help speed that process up. It really will help our circadian rhythm, and so kind of getting that to be more channeled in and logged in will help them get quality sleep versus most of us think that quality sleep is quantity.
Amazing. So these are hot tubs, right?
Give
so
it a feel. Give them a feel.
Okay, give them a feel. Well, maybe they're going to be cold and hot.
Well,
we got next to each
there's
other.
only one way to find out.
Oh, cold tubs for sure. Well, we got one cold tub. Okay, so we're going cold and hot right here.
Yep. So we got our cold plunge. Our cold plunge is around 43 degrees. And then our hot tub is about 104. The idea is to kind of play off of the homeostasis of the body, right? Mm-hmm. So you're gonna start out in wherever you're most comfortable, but again, if I were to drop you in the 104, your body's gonna start sweating, telling it that, hey, this is too hot, right? This is way too hot. I need to cool myself down, so it starts to sweat. Same thing if we go into the cold, my body's too cold. To warm itself up, it's gonna start sweating. Then we go into our probably most utilized service over there, our sauna. And we crank that bad boy up to about 198 through the acclimation process. So that's why we call this a heat acclimation. Mm-hmm. As they're working toward camp, they spend time in a very, very extreme heat or very extreme cold.
Incredible. Wow, this would be my favorite. This is where I'm spending most of my time. And so kind of explain, I know you had kind of gone through a trial this last couple of years. You went from the Bantamweight champion to having kind of a difficult time and to now, having a first round knockout. So explain how you went from the highest high to a really hard couple of years.
Yeah, I got into the UFC at 5-0, and rose to the top pretty quickly. 6 fights in, I was a world champion. So 11-0, 25 years old, world champion. Wow. Just dethroned the greatest bantamweights of all time, Dominic Cruz, in a masterclass performance. So that was the highest of high. I mean, that was the pinnacle. To be a world champion and to do it.
And in that fight, you were not favored.
Yeah, not at all. Big underdog, and there's a lot of.
We love that.
Yeah, I love being an underdog. There was a lot of what ifs going into that fight. Can you do a 5-round fight? Can you catch Dominic? Can you? He's very tricky and very unorthodox. So there was a lot of unanswered questions inside of myself. But like I said, I believe so much in myself and where I came from, what I overcame, to get to this point that I was like, who cares what the MMA critics and people say? Like, I've been, you know, doubted my whole entire life. Like that whole week I just sat back and was like, and I took it all in. I was present. I was like, you know, this is, you only get to fight one time for a world title. Your first world title, you only get one shot.
Yeah,
you know,
wow.
Like, just, you know, be engaged, be thankful, be filled with gratitude. It's my time, you know, and just trust in yourself and believe in the work that you put in. You know, after I had some, you know, a little bit of setbacks with injuries, had a year out from winning the world title to my next fight to defend it. And it was just, you know, a mental thing. Very mentally taxing and challenging, trying to get your body to do things that you know it can do, but it won't do. And the injury really set me back. I was in rehab for about a whole year before I got back into the octagon, back into the training. And I just felt like a lot of things that I was doing that in the past that gave me the edge I wasn't able to do. And my life's just so fast-tracked and crazy. Like, even right now after a fight, I feel that because I'm not in my regular training schedule. I'm all over the place. Anxiety starts creeping in. But, you know, since I moved out here, I incorporated working with a sports therapist that's helped out so much. And it's here. I go every Thursday. And just to talk about things like this, you know, how to deal with, you know, post like fight depression. Every day you wake up at 6 in the morning, you get your day ready and you have everything laid out, training, PT, training, massages, you know, you're used to doing. You know what I mean? And it's just like, what do I do with all this time? Like, I'm running around, I feel, you know, I'm not being productive, but it's like, I just keep reminding myself just to enjoy it, relax, and be present.
So what is your plan to get back in fighting? Now you had this knockout. So what's next for Cody?
Yeah, you know, I think UFC 300, I think that was a great time for me to enjoy a little bit of downtime, let my body reheal, restructurize a lot of things that went right in camp, things I wanted to add more, like analyzing everything from your last camp, your last fight, because you're only as good as your last fight. You're as good as your last camp. So breaking them down as I had constant, I literally got out of the octagon, okay, I need to do more of this, I need to do this differently. Like, I'm obsessed with getting better. And whether it's 1%, however I can get better in any area, I always constantly do that.
And so something I was surprised about, obviously you're tatted, you're very down to earth, you're very calm, you don't drink, you don't party. Has that always been you, or is that something that you made a decision for fighting?
I've never really been big into like drinking alcohol.
Yeah.
You know, I got the mean gene in my family tree, so it's like.
The mean gene.
Yeah, the mean gene. I just don't, both my uncles, you know, spent the majority of their life in prison. My father as well. I was always told, you know, like, if you don't have a bad habit, don't start one.
Yeah.
You know, so that always kind of stuck with me. You see a lot of those fighters that go out there and they live the life, live the fast life and party hard, and then you see their career starting to kind of diminish or go downhill. It's like, well, how well they recover. 9 o'clock rolls around, I'm like falling asleep.
Yeah, I always say, like, I'm a grandma, I'm sorry I'm not fun, and then I'm like, wait, actually I'm fun. I'm just not fun after 9 p.m.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So like, I'm the most fun during the day. Well, this is so great. I have one question for you, just because I know a lot of people are wondering. During fight camps, they say that you can't have sex because it helps build aggression. Do you abide by that rule?
You know, actually, when I fought Dominic Cruz, I had sex like hours before that fight, and it was like my best performance. So I think that's a myth.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's like, I'm training so hard, like, I'm not trying to, like, I'm like, where I don't, you know, want to be all touchy-feely and lovey. Like, I'm getting ready to go and fight into a cage. You know, you kind of have to have that mindset. So Coach Dewey Cooper, he's always like, yeah, that's why some motherfuckers in prison are all fighting and killing each other, because, you know, like, do it after the fight. You know, he always says that to a lot of his fighters, so he cracks me up. But yeah, I've done it.
It's a myth.
I've done it and not done it, so I don't know.
Okay, it's proven though. It's proven. He won.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for this. We're actually going to now go train with Cody. Well, we're going to train with his team because he hurt his shin. And so we need him to rest up because he's got a big fight coming up, hopefully in April. And he's going to win. So now we're going to train with him. It's going to be amazing. So thank you so much for that.
I love it, thanks.
Okay, so now we're entering my favorite part of every episode, and we are going to train just like a UFC fighter. So today we have one of Cody's coaches and one of Cody's fighting partners. Welcome, Lance. Thanks for training me today.
No problem. I'm excited to show you some stuff.
What are we going to be getting into?
Well, we could work some things from the feet, which would be more striking based, and set up a takedown, and then we can finish on the mat with a submission. So literally.
Perfect. Start to finish with the submission. Let's go.
Awesome. All right, guys. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to set up our takedown off of our striking. Today we're just going to use 1, 2, 3, which is a jab, a cross, and a hook, and it's going to set up our shot to our double leg. So we'll just get into the shot first. Okay. So I'm going to have you, this will be your jab hand, this will be your cross, and this will be your hook.
Okay.
So you'll go 1, 2, hook, and then you're gonna set up your shot. It's gonna be a head outside, so it's gonna be like this. You want your shoulder in my stomach, so you're like driving in as you lower your level.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
So off of your hook, you'll throw that. So hook and then step in, right with your hands. You go right behind my knees.
Okay.
And, like pull your elbows in, and then drive me this way, all the way to the mat.
Okay.
So 1, 2, 3, boom, drive, drive, drive. Nice.
So I got to make sure I get under there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Good.
No
Again.
big deal.
You got it. Easy. Drive across. Nice. I want you to shrug this almost to here. If you have to let go to get it to here, that's fine.
Okay.
And then you're gonna just keep the lock like this.
Okay.
So you're gonna pull it this way.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
That little buzzer was like real.
Yeah, fight's on. Slide that knee over. Yep, there you go. So foot up and knee over. Yes, like that. And hook. She won.
Scripts over.
Really good.
Any boys want to fuck up? That's what you do.
Put them out.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Okay, guys. So now my career in UFC has just begun. Catch me. Like I said, people call me that I look like Ronda Rousey. Maybe her and I are going to be head-to-head in a fight upcoming. So thank you, Coach Lance.
Yep.
This was awesome. I did learn a few things. Hopefully you guys got a good understanding of UFC today. And so thank you guys so much for watching Pro Athletes Unfiltered, and we will see you next week.
If you guys are whooping my ass, it's gonna be hurt on my ego.
Have to clear, sign your check, and you kind of go on your way.
That's interesting.
Yeah. 2, boom.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, dude. Shit was lit.
Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you on the next episode of Pro Athletes Unfiltered.